When we think of World War II, we picture epic battles and roaring artillery. But on the Eastern Front and in the Ardennes, the deadliest enemy was the cold itself. The cold crept through uniforms, froze engines, and turned simple tasks into life-or-death struggles. Soldiers faced two wars, one against the enemy and one against the relentless winter. A frozen foxhole, a jammed weapon, or a pair of inadequate boots could mean death. Supply lines froze, food became inedible, and weapons failed as lubricants thickened to sludge. The cold broke morale, isolated men, and claimed lives in silence. Victory often depended less on tactics and more on who had the warmest coat or driest boots. The psychological toll was immense. Hopelessness, exhaustion, and the ever-present fear of freezing to death haunted every soldier. In this secret war, survival was the ultimate victory. The German army marched into Russia in 1941, confident in their wool greatcoats, perfect for Europe, disastrous for Russia. The coats absorbed moisture, froze solid, and became heavy prisons, offering little warmth. Germans, unprepared for winter, improvised with newspapers and stolen cloth, but frostbite was rampant. In contrast, Soviet soldiers wore the Telogreika, a quilted, padded jacket and trousers, lightweight and warm, designed for survival. The Telogreika trapped heat, dried quickly, and paired with the Ushanka hat, shielded soldiers from the worst cold. Soviet gear was practical, layered and effective, a product of generations facing Russian winters. The Germans tried to copy these designs, but too late for many. The Battle of Winter Uniforms was decisively won by the Soviets. In the end, survival favoured function over form. Boots were a soldier's lifeline in the Winter War. German jackboots, though sturdy, were tight, poorly insulated, and their metal hobnails sucked heat from the foot. Frostbite and trench foot crippled thousands. Boots froze to feet, sometimes costing men their toes or legs. The Soviets wore Valenki, felt boots, loose and warm, paired with foot wraps and rubber overshoes. Valenki kept feet insulated and circulation strong, a simple design that saved lives. American GIs in the Ardennes suffered too. Their boots trapped sweat, which froze, leading to trench foot and misery. The lesson was clear. Keeping feet dry and warm was as vital as any weapon. Soviet boots, though humble, outperformed the complex German and American designs. In winter, the simplest solution often proved best. The right boots could mean the difference between marching forward and being left behind. In the cold, every step mattered. Cold attacks the hands first, robbing soldiers of dexterity needed to fight and survive. German wool gloves soaked up moisture and froze, leaving fingers numb and useless. Touching metal weapons barehanded could tear skin. Even loading a rifle became a painful ordeal. Soviet mittens, with a separate trigger finger, balanced warmth and function, an ingenious, life-saving design. Americans faced similar struggles. Their gloves were often inadequate, forcing men to expose skin for critical tasks. The cold made every action, opening rations, treating wounds, firing a weapon, agonizingly slow. Soldiers wrapped gun parts in cloth, stripped lubricants and improvised, but frostbite was a constant threat. The battle for dexterity was a daily fight, with the cold turning hands and weapons into liabilities. In the end, small innovations, like the Soviet mitten, made a big difference. In winter, survival was in the details. Tanks, trucks and planes were as vulnerable to the cold as the men who used them. Steel cracked, rubber split, batteries died and oils thickened into sludge, immobilizing entire divisions overnight. German tanks, complex and powerful, often froze solid. Crews built fires under engines just to get moving. Soviet T-34s, designed for the cold, used diesel engines, wide tracks, and simple mechanics to keep rolling. Soviet crews diluted oil with gasoline and used compressed air starters, risky but effective. Logistics vehicles were lifelines. If they froze, the front starved. Drivers ran engines through the night to prevent freezing burning precious fuel. Fuel itself could gel and clog lines, adding to the chaos. The real battle was often against the elements, not the enemy. Keeping machines alive was a hidden, exhausting war within the war. In the cold, a soldier's body burns thousands more calories just to stay warm. Supplying enough food became a nightmare. Frozen rations, broken supply lines, and endless hunger. German soldiers starved on the Eastern Front, eating hard bread and thin soup, growing weaker by the day. Soviet scorched earth tactics left nothing to forage. Malnutrition and exhaustion set in. Even when food arrived, it was often frozen solid, requiring dangerous fires to thaw. Water froze in canteens. Melting snow was the only option, wasting time and fuel. American GIs in the Bulge faced similar misery. Rations froze, meals were monotonous, and hot food was rare. The lack of calories sapped strength, morale, and the will to fight. Survival depended on finding enough fuel for the body as much as for the tanks. In winter, hunger was as deadly as any bullet. The frozen battlefields of World War II taught hard lessons. Nature is the ultimate adversary. Soviet layering inspired today's military cold weather gear, like the US Army's ECWCS system. Modern boots are now breathable and waterproof, a direct response to past failures. Synthetic lubricants and better batteries keep machines running in any climate. MREs and flameless heaters ensure soldiers can eat hot meals anywhere. The Cold War of survival shaped every piece of modern gear. The most advanced weapon is useless if the soldier wielding it is frozen and hungry. The legacy of those winters endures in every soldier's kit, a tribute to the men who fought and survived the cold.